Hello and welcome to the SC Playbook podcast, head of NRL Supercoach Round 20, proudly brought to you by Mortgage Choice SCW. I'm your host, Tim Williams. The major bye period is in the rear vision mirror. The birds are chirping again, the skies are blue, life is good. And speaking of the birdies chirping, with me today, the high-flying, and I mean high-flying, possibly the highest he's ever flown. Not quite, but close to it, the SC Spy.
Yeah, not chirping much. I've actually said nothing about my rank pre-potty. I was talking about watching Batman and having beers and Bachelor the weekend, but you're right, pretty bloody good again. Yeah, 14-12 on the weekend. Just some of those things when stuff's going your way. Papy was ruled out, obviously, again, which meant my last player I could play was Harris Tavita for the Warriors, who sort of sits there as a backup. It also meant I got a free loop. I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. We'll have a crack at it. And yeah, over a few beers Sunday Arvo at home, Chanel Harris Tavita rocked out a ton for me. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. So
You cannot do wrong at the moment.
not at the moment. Because I was like, oh, he might get like a 25 and drop out. I was like, happy to cop that. And he was on about 4 after 35 minutes and then just started going ballistic. I'm like, this is crazy. I actually turned to my mate, true story, I'm like, geez, you know, I'd be really handy right now. Aaron Clark putting Chanel Harris Tavita over, just literally taking the piss. And 4 seconds later, they went short side and did it.
Oh, my God.
Thus the photo on Instagram, on social media there, on WhatsApp.
Thank God it was only on WhatsApp and not social media.
Well, I'd never do that to you. You'd have a bloody heart attack.
I had a heart attack anyway.
Just to clarify, actually, I don't take my shirt off for photos. I just already don't wear shirts. Just
You
to clarify
should put your shirt on for photos.
I know you're saying that.
No one wants to see the Spy's rig, despite what you think of it.
Well, I've got written text saying otherwise. But anyway, it was a good bloody weekend.
Pants were on for those that aren't in the WhatsApp group. So it wasn't all R18 rated, but geez, hard work trying to keep the lid on this bloke and mean that in more than one way.
But yeah, I'm into 185th. So I'm stoked. I'm absolutely stoked, and we'll see what we can do in the coming weeks.
You can honestly do no wrong. When Aaron Clark put CHT over, saying you've got to be kidding me. I messaged you straight away and meant this is unreal. For myself, I had a week Spy where everything that I shouldn't say everything. Most things that could go wrong went wrong, and I just kept shaking my head, going, "You've got to be kidding me!" So I scored 1220, so it wasn't terrible. I dropped about 300 spots to 1800th overall. So hardly terrible, but
on the surface, not that bad, but how it came about.
Just everything. Like, I was in two minds about trades all weekend because I was waiting on Origin backups and all different sorts of news, one being the hooking scenario, and I ended up boosting. So I got Harry Grant, Zach Lomax and Rinakama, and that was all good, and I've said all along that I wanted to boost that round to sort of get my team up to scratch, but so many people were short on numbers last weekend or had 17 or like 18 plus duds. I had a really strong squad and I had sit v start decisions and all these sorts of things. And one of them was because I had the two Smith boys at hooker, I could have gone a week and gone, all right, I'll just cop Billy Smith as my, would potentially become my AE and essentially be my hooker for the week. Anyway, I ended up getting Harry Grant in, which is fine. He scored 50 odd, played decent minutes, and it was more a long-term play. Billy Smith comes out and turns into an immortal. He has 2 tries, just about 10 minutes into the game, and then scores. Still only scored about 105 or something for what it's worth. And then there was just like Dill Brown, who I never really wanted to play and was happy to been somewhat trying to get rid of. He gets moved to hooker. As soon as that happened, I went mad. He's playing about 20 minutes in this game. So he got moved to the bench, and similar to you, like, he became my AE, but like Nwanganita Waze didn't score that well, so I had his low score in there as well. Paps got ruled out, and there were just a couple of other things that happened where I just went, I cannot take a trick. However, as I said, it was only about a 300 rank drop, so it wasn't doom and gloom. Trades were decent. Got Lomax in for Connor Tracy, who, after a slow start to the campaign for the Stallions, turned out with a 5 or so round average of 65 or so and ended up doing a good job after a slow start. So, mate, it's okay, and we're set for the run home. Also with us today, Matty the Waterboy. Matty, how'd you go, mate?
Yeah, not the best week. I had a couple of, I had Paps. I've held on to Haas and Munster. I scraped together a team this week. I ended up with 17, but I ended up with 11, I think it was 1144, so not great, but the team's looking bloody awesome the next few weeks. It's looking great this week. I can't wait.
I think everyone's looking good this week, Matty, to be fair.
Yeah, no, I know they are. I know they are. I was chatting to you before, like, it's funny how, like, it seems obvious, and most people listening to this will be like, that's obvious, but like, your team, you scrape together 13 or 17 people, depending on which it is in the Origin period, and then you've just done all this groundwork, and then just kind of out of nowhere, teams are back to one bye, and your team looks $1 million. Yeah. It's so good. I know everyone's in the same boat, but I'm really happy about it. I feel good. And
that's it, Spy. We've gone into a position now where I think because teams are very stacked and they're relatively similar. And look, I may be wrong in saying this, but I think it's going to be hard, and I don't think we're going to see a lot of movement over the next 4 to 5 weeks. I think it will then be in the back end of the season where draws start to chop and change. I know a lot of good teams have tough draws, and obviously a few softer draws will open up. Injuries will hit, suspensions will hit. Maybe they won't, but I think we'll see movement over the last month. I think the next month it's going to be tricky to see sort of too much movement. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely harder to move in the coming month. Not to say you can't do it. No. It's absolutely capable, but it just gets a little bit tricky, so you've just got to make a few decisions on how you go about doing that. Maybe playing guys who are less owned, but then you've got to be careful about sitting high-ranked guys, because if they go mad, they're obviously highly owned for a reason. So it just depends where you're sitting and what you want to do. But yeah, speaking of movement, I've got one more thing. Sunday night, to set the scene, for those that missed last week, I had my bachelor weekend. The fam, wife and kids were away in Queensland, so I caught up with every mate known to man, had some cracking nights out, but Sunday I just stayed home. I'm like, it's a triple head of NRL. I need a case of beer and just enjoy it. Anyway, just before bed, I was sitting there, I'm like, updates will probably be in soon. I was somewhat drunk, let's not lie. I was ready for bed. Oh, geez, they're not far away, so I put on a tune or something. And just as I was about to be like, I'll wait till the morning, clicked on the phone, I got about 180 points in updates. And Harris Tavita went from 80 to 107. All this stuff happened. I'm like, this is unbelievable. Like, it's just everything's going my way. And yeah, put the feet up, went to sleep. How freaking good.
Herbie freaking Farnworth went up 25 points in updates. He got his 80, and I'm like, all right, I can live with that. Like a Herbie, he's tunning for fun at the moment. 25 points, and it wasn't even like a try system. It was just a tackle bust, offloads. My word. I've got I shouldn't say one more week, but this week's going to be torturous against the Cowboys into a bye, and I can just rest easy for a week. But
that 80, so he was my vice captain, and I was just like, it's on that level where it's definitely not enough. Like, it's absolutely not enough, but it's like, you're one try assist away, basically. And I was like, can't do it. Put it on Drinkwater, who had the worst game of his year. I know he got 48, but it was the worst game he's played. And then I check later that Herbie's on 105. I'm like, I would have taken that. God.
And Scotty, was it like 5 minutes to go? Knocked out of the hand.
Yeah, knocked out of the hand.
32 points.
And not only that, he lost points. So he was on 60.
Downdated.
So he ended up on 48, and bloody Herbie, who got updated after the Cowboys game. Not happy.
Anyway, let's embrace the Spy and his run of form, because he is absolutely flying, and I've got a lot of work to do to catch you, Spy Man. On today's show, there's going to be a lot of debate, and basically things are wide open today, Spy, because TLT, Teamless Tuesday, which we'll get to very shortly, some absolute spanners which have rattled trade plans. So we're going to speak very openly, basically off the cuff, about how it's impacted our team and our trades and all sorts of things. Skippers this week as well are wide open, so lots of options there. But we'll, of course, go through Team List Tuesday, Supercoach pointers. Nathan Cleary and Ryan Papenhuyzen both out this week. Doesn't stop there. Mad edition of Team List Tuesday. Our topic for the show, the bye period recap. So it's obviously done. We're going to look at how we went through this period and what we learned from it. Obviously, I think it's the second year of the top 13 players in the 3 major bye rounds. The topic for the show now is going to push this back till next week once Cleary was ruled out, but looking at the flex position and whether or not we can go 3 halfbacks in. Obviously, it's probably more of a conversation for next week, but for people potentially trading out a fullback in Papenhuyzen this week and you can't go to Cleary, it's going to impact next week and trade plans this week. So we'll have a look at that. Hot topics for the show. Which back rower is the best option for Dylan Lucas this week? Hudson Young, Angus Crichton, or do we look elsewhere? Round 20 trades, sit v starts, and skipper plans. Obviously, as teams are so deep this time of year, we will start to add in a bit more sit v start chat in our teams. And then listener questions for the show. Is it time to start considering Eli Katoa to the captaincy debate each week? Unlimited league leader, Baby Dale's coached by Matt. Have a go at this, Spy. Left into first overall in our unlimited group. He was second overall in the group last week by 8 points. Belted out 1450 to go. He finished 92nd for the week, and he was coming second.
Form at the right time.
Yes. Momax, coached by Jake, has dropped to second overall. Just to O Good, great name, coached by Justin. He's up to third. So we've got the top 3 overall. Floraville Magpies, coached by Tony, top the week with 1,609 points.
Top 3, come on.
A lot of announcements lately, Spy. Another announcement for us, an off-season subscription content coming. So at the end of the Supercoach season, SC Playbook is going to be rolling out a series of in-depth Q&A podcasts. I'm going to be interviewing the most reputable minds in the game to understand how they approach Supercoach and what's led them to success in the past. So there'll be gun content creators, past champions, the best of the best to see what makes their mind tick over. Throughout September, October and November, we'll be releasing the interviews via podcast and video, largely to our subscribers on the platform, but also we'll make a lot of them available to non-subscribers too, to make sure they can get in some of the action. An exciting series that will scratch the off-season itch and help you plan for the 2026 season. The latest of a host of subscriber initiatives added to the network in 2025. So keen to get that one kicked off. Guys, you can subscribe to SC Playbook for less than $2 a week. That's a third of your daily cup of coffee, and support the platform for the mountains of time and effort that go into it each and every week to provide your Supercoach content. So to do that, you head to scplaybook.com.au, click the menu and hit subscribe. Team List Tuesday, Spy. Bit in here. At the Roosters, Hugo Savala, gone for 2 weeks with a busted hand. You would think Sandon Smith would slot back in there, one of the brightest young prospects in the game. Chad Townsend starts at 5'8".
I'm assuming Sandon signed somewhere that we don't quite know about yet, surely.
But the Roosters take away the fact that he's my backup hooker. And I mean, I didn't need him this week anyway, but just regardless, the Roosters take Supercoach out of the equation. The Roosters are playing for a final spot. Not only are they playing for a final spot, they are playing against the Cronulla Sharks. It is every chance them to vie for a sort of a 7th, 8th, 9th spot in the back end of the season, and that 2 points could separate them. This is a huge game for them, and they've gone Chad Townsend over Sandon Smith. I'm sorry.
Big call, yeah. It's obviously, well, there's only one reason they're doing it. It's because Chad's that very steady hand, which is what Savala did. Obviously really just want that steady number 6, 7 to
Chad
go with
still
Sammy
that steady
Walker.
hand, though?
We'll probably find out this week. I don't know. It's a big call. The other thing is Sammy Walker, just remind me, he came back mostly on the left edge last week. So that's where Sandon's been playing. I'm just looking for reasons why it maybe happened. Do they swap Sandon to the right on the other side of the field, or have they just gone...
I tell you what,
it's a big call from Robbo.
Tell you what, I can't, whether he's signed or not, it suggests that, look, maybe there's some sort of niggling injury that we don't know about. Maybe that's good to it. But he's on the extended bench, so it
he played Reggie's, so it's not that. Okay. If you had a niggle, you wouldn't play.
So it makes no sense to me. Keen to see how it plays. I'm very keen to see where he's going to lob Sandon Smith. I think he's an exceptional talent, and I think the Roosters are going to regret letting him go.
So I'm a huge Sandon fan. Even if there's a few little things he might need to work on, like that's what it is as a young half.
Friggin' oath. The biggest news of the week, Spy. Nathan Cleary is out for the Panthers. Isaiah Yeo is also out. The rest of the Origin players, including Dylan Edwards and Brian To'o, they return for the Riff. Huge. And we'll speak a lot more about Cleary later, but I mean, I like it from Ivan Cleary. I think he's managed his players exceptionally well, and I think he's done it a lot better than other clubs have. He's obviously played them last week thinking, all right, we don't need all our Origin players, but a couple of them can get us across the line. He's done the same this week, and he's given them boys their rest. What are your thoughts?
Well, I wasn't going to be getting him this week, so I'm freaking stoked. When I saw that rumour come out about 3/3, I was like, oh, please be true, because that would have been a tough watch. We'll get to reasons around buying him and whatnot shortly, but as someone who didn't have him in my plans this week, you bloody ripper.
I was sort of sitting there thinking, all right, I'll go another week without him, not goal kicking at the moment. The Bunnies, a few players back. But then I was like, then the Papenhuyzen news came through that he was out. I'm like, all right, patience is wearing very thin with Pappy. Do I just do that? And then they've sort of crossed each other both out. So we'll get to that shortly, though. At the Bunnies, Campbell Graham is out. Tallis Duncan shifts to centre. Ewan Aitken returns in the back row. At the Eels, Dylan Brown, 18th man. Riley Smith, he starts at 9. Talon De Silva at 14. Joe Ash Papali is at 6. What do you make of all this?
Yeah, Eels just prepping for 2026. I think Wilson, I just listened to it. Wilson on the podcast went in depth about this on his weekly review. But, I mean, my opinion is Para, even before last week, were 5 games short of being at like 50% win rate, which is about what you need to be a chance at making the 8. So, look, if you can get your next halves combination 9 weeks ahead, heading into next season, I think it's absolutely a smart play. Supercoach-wise, doesn't help Lomax all that much, although we'll see. He still nearly got 2 last week. He dropped one over the line, actually.
You know what? I disagree.
Yeah?
I think it works better because let's exclude last week because Dill Brown played at 9 and things chopped and changed, but Dill Brown's a left edge half. Zach Lomax is on the right. So when Dill's in that team without Mitch Moses, he's going to command a lot more ball on the left. So I think the right edge of Moses see less ball. Now Papali's on the left. Dean Hawkins all of a sudden becomes the more experienced half. I think the right edge see more ball. And then you add in Mitch Moses, who will be back next week or the week after. That right edge is going to see all the ball.
I was more just thinking I wanted to see Mitch and Dylan together with Yongi. So their best side scores more points. But in terms of percentage of footy going Lomax's way, not wrong about that. But it's an interesting one. But Rolsey obviously getting ahead of the game for 2026. I see what he's doing. I quite like it.
I don't mind it, mate. He was transparent from round one that this was a rebuild year, and it's paying dividends already in so many different ways in decisions that he's made. So I do feel for Dylan Brown, who's like, he's been offered this $13 million deal. He hasn't gone because he doesn't like the Eels or anything, and he's been so good to him for a number of years.
You can't say no.
Yeah, but
you know what?
I get it.
Yeah, he's probably playing his first cup, but you could nearly just say, mate, put the feet up. You've done a lot for us over the years. We'll see, and maybe he gets a farewell match. But, is what it is. Tough decisions.
Yeah, as a Supercoach owner, I was kind of expecting maybe to be named on the bench this week rather than 18th man, so I actually don't mind it because he was going to plummet even more cash, but he's turned into a headache. At the Doggies, Bronson Sherry is out by Jethro. Rinakama retains his spot on the wing. I don't know why Sherry's out, maybe niggle or something, but when Sherry comes back, it'll be between Rinakama and Anari Tuala to hold a spot in that back line. I actually got Rinakama in last week. I just needed to get some cash. I traded Billy Smith out, the 14th Immortal or whatever we're up to, and he was bottom dollar in a good side, and I figured, he's probably only one injury away anyway. So, look, I'm not expecting him necessarily to feature too much, but if he can hold a spot on that wing for the Doggies when Sherry is back, good draw over the next month or so. As I said, you're not really looking to play him, but you just free up a shitload of cash to facilitate others. What are your thoughts on a Rinakama trade this week?
Well, 21 carries of the ball last week. He had an offload, couple of tackle busts, scored a try without a line break. So even with that said and a couple of errors, might get themselves up around that 40 mark without doing anything. So I like him if you need a downgrade. If it's going to free up money required for a trade, then he's one of those blokes that ticks the box. There might be someone else there who's more likely to play, but there wouldn't be too many at that price. So
no, there's not.
And if it ever comes up, like even this week, he's a left wing versus Saints. He's a good player.
He'd be a decent player. Yeah. That's it. Like, they spend so much time attacking down the left edge, through kick out, doing that sweep out the back, tip onto the wing. Like, it's a good spot to be. Lockie Calvin starts at halfback. Toby Sexton dropped. Spy, not a heap of Supercoach relevance, although I guess it does potentially put Lockie Galvin on the radar. He'd be dirt cheap by now, about 440 odd.
Well, again, things falling into place for me. We'll get to it later, but I may need a downgrade in the coming weeks just to facilitate a couple of things.
Yeah, 436k, 75 break even.
Harris Tavita down to Galvin gives me a couple 100k. So could be absolutely cheering, and I'd happily play Galvin any given week. If I need him. Don't have to force him in, but he's a Supercoach star. I think his role will be different at the Dogs to the Tigers. In fact, it definitely will be. But either way, he's pretty relevant. And as a backup 5'8", if you need him, be perfect. So we'll see what happens in coming weeks. At
the Melbourne Storm, Ryan Papenhuyzen out for a third week in a row, calf tightness, and God, I wish they were a little bit more. Look, maybe they didn't know the club, and I know clubs don't give a shit about Supercoaches and all of that, but just for footy fans in general, be a little bit more transparent about it. 3 weeks on the trot. The first 2, he was a laid out. This week, they've just said, no, you're not playing at all, which the fact that he was named in the squad the first 2 times and then he's not even in the extended squad this week suggests, all right, maybe they knew this was coming. Nick Meaney at fullback. Huge win for Nick Meaney owners who jumped on him either 2 weeks ago or last week, Spy.
Massive. What did he score last week, I wonder?
70 odd?
Yeah.
He's irrelevant at centre. At fullback, though, goal kicking with Papy out, he's a weapon.
Certainly is. Anyone that grabbed him, well done.
Could you get him this week or not?
Nah. Papy could be, unless we get more news.
Yeah.
Pappy could be back next week. Then you're sort of stuck with a bloke at, 580, 600K who you wouldn't really want to play. Let's check some scores. No, I would never want to play him.
They're awful, yeah.
Just very in that 40 range. So, nah.
Yeah.
I think it's too late. Unless you think they're going to pump Manly and he goes 130 again. But
Kane Bradley, the star winger at the Storm, he jags another week as a result of Meaney staying at fullback, so a nice price rise there. Oh, the other one that got me 2 weeks ago, actually, this pissed me off. Charlie Geimer. 2 weeks ago, I moved someone on and I decided not to move like an active player for squad depth.
Yep.
Geimer, as he hasn't been for 90% of the season, wasn't named. I traded him for depth 2 weeks ago to whoever I moved in. It might have been a Kick-Out or someone. Next minute, he's an 80-minute back rower and turns into another future immortal. He was
85.
85.
Holy crap. With no attack.
I know. Like, with no attack. So he had 69 in base. He's now 312k with a break-even of negative 26. He looked an absolute weld beater on the weekend.
Well, that's why we bought him round one, didn't we?
Yes.
For this. Just taken 20 weeks. But yeah, he did look good, didn't he?
He played so well. And then Kidione Katonga is injured for about 6 or 8 weeks, so he's not going anywhere. Anyway, you win some, you lose more. Tigers, Taylor May makes his return. Adam Dewey moved to lock at the night. Dill Lucas is out, and Brodie Jones is named on the edge. Now, Spy, our man, Wilson Carlos, officially an accredited NRL player agent. For anyone who's listened to SC Playbook from the early days when we used to record remotely, or that listens to the weekly rap podcast of a Sunday night, whilst I know that the fella knows his rugby league, he'd never say this because he's too humble, but I'm happy to. He was the number 2 hooker throughout his teenage years behind a certain Cameron Smith. And I don't mean the golfing Cameron Smith, I mean the NRL superstar Cameron Smith. Hammered by injuries, so that cut his career short, unfortunately. But yeah, so with his agency, he's got a particular focus on central Queensland and particularly the junior system up there. Not limited to juniors though, but he's got eyes all over Australia, and yeah, so not limited to Queensland, representing both men and women, boys and girls. He's got more than 10 players already on his books. He's emphasising though in his new venture that he's not just looking for deals for players. He wants to put his knowledge of the game to use and help develop the player, I should say, like in an agent coaching hybrid sort of role. Couldn't think of a better man for the job.
So good. So probably the 2 smartest rugby league minds that I know would be Sammy Williams and Wilson Carlos. Like, I love listening to him speak. They pick up things that others don't. And I listened to him talking about it not long ago. And what's awesome about this is, you're getting your agent, but you've got someone who's going to be able to say to you, mate, boy or girl, whoever you may be, you're not up to it in this. You can work on it. Let's work on it. It's what you need to do. Or you're excellent at this. Let's build on that. That's pretty special because he's not coaching a team where there could be agendas at play. He's there for you.
Yeah.
Freaking love it. Imagine having that. Like, that knowledge, being able to go, here's your strengths, here's your weaknesses, this is what you need to work on, let's do it. Super cool.
Pretty bloody rare in a player agent. So, and a cracking fella as well. It'll be, I suppose you call him a client. Client's interest at heart at all times. He's a good man, Walsh. So, guys, if you or someone you know is looking for a bit of representation, reach out and shoot Walsh an email. keepplayingsport25@gmail.com. Now,
or if you forget that, message us. We'll send on your details.
Or that.
No dramas.
Yeah. Topic for today's show, Spy. We're a bye period recap. So, I think it was last year, it changed to the top 13 scorers in those 3 major bye rounds around Origin when half the competition were on byes. That it was only your top 13 scorers in your squad counted. Pardon me. I butchered it last year. I went a little bit too hard and I tried to get too many numbers and I carried some duds around it, so I really changed my approach this year off the back of it. How did you approach leading into the bye period? And we know what your rank is now, so it's obviously done well. But where were you at the start of the bye period? Where are you at the end of it? 180 odd, you said. But what changed for you this year?
Rank-wise, I went into the first Origin game in about the 1600 mark. 16, yeah. And I'm into 185. I changed 2 things pretty specifically. Firstly, I'm happy to say some things went my way. Like, when you have good years, you need stuff to go your way. And when you have bad years, things goes against you. That's just how it is. You can't be up all the time. But 2 things I did was, 1, I wanted 13 strong players. There was no one in my side throughout, unless they're a 14th man or maybe a 13th just by how it worked out. I looked at my third and went, yeah, they're all good players. Like, they can all do a job for me and score well. I wasn't sitting there going, oh, I've got 15, but 4 aren't very good. And to the point where if someone was coming off the bench, I didn't even count them in my numbers.
Yeah.
I was like, I just want 13 good players. I tried to get up to 14, but I didn't over-chase that because I know we're going to need trades at the back end. I'm starting to cut it pretty fine. So if I'd used 2 or 3 more trying to get that extra number who might be a bit of a cushion, I'd be a lot shorter now. So 13 good players was my target. If I could get to 14, lovely. And maybe that 14th player was a downgrade option who might be able to kick off and have a big week, but not overly worried about that. And the other thing was, that was it. I didn't overthink it too much. I just sort of did that and got some decisions right. A couple of blokes who did deliver for me was Harris DeVita on the weekend, turned up, which was remarkable. Again, not that he's bad. He's averaging 58, 60, but the fact he tunned for me on the bye week when I had to play him is awesome because he could have gone 25 or 30. And there was someone else, like I brought in, the Knights player, Kyle McCarthy.
Yeah.
Scored a try, got 70 like the week I needed him. So a few things went my way there. But to be honest, I just had 13 good players just doing a good job and rolling them over for me like that.
Yeah. Not to get out the tiny violin and whinge because this is part of the game, but I didn't jag many of those, the reserve sort of players that you wouldn't play week to week where you had to play in those weeks where they jagged the try those weeks and they get you 70 rather than their 30 or 40. I had a few moments, but just missed a few of those, and the weeks I had to play them, didn't get a lot out of them. But it all went well. As I said, remarkably, I think I dropped a decent amount of positions during the bye period last year, and I went pretty hard at it, and I carried plotters through it. This year, so what do we got here, Spy? This says, round 12. Is that end of round 12, I was 2,700?
Yep.
End of round 12, I was 2,700. And then I made my way into 1,800th overall. And to be honest, I was 1,500th last week after the third major buy round. I was set up to do a lot better this week. So, yeah, I came in about 1,000 spots across the period, but I save trades, and I'm well placed with trades now, and I said it all pre-season and sort of leading into the buy period that I wasn't going to carry these plotters through it. And I don't mean a plotter in like a Royce Hunt who might play a buy round and play 10 minutes off the bench. That's a dud. I mean plotters like someone who might average 45 and, you sort of carry them through for an extra number. If it was one of them, I just got rid of them and didn't bother. It's not to say there weren't players with good buy coverage who aren't necessarily keepers, like a Connor Tracy, for example. I brought him not thinking he'd be a keeper, but I tried to tailor all my trades to either generating cash or keepers for the run home. At least potential keepers for the run home, rather than players where I'm like, I'll get them in, they give me a couple of games, then I'll trade them out in a few weeks' time. So that's what I did. And it's the same thing. My numbers were decent enough for the rounds, but rather than burning 3 trades every major buy round, I was the same. I was like, I've got 13 or 14, that's fine, and I was happy to carry along with that, and I'm really happy with how I played it, and as I said, trades in bank coming out of it, used a boost last week, team set up well for the run home, so yeah. And coming out of it, Spy, do you have any sort of major takes that you took from this year's major buy period? I mean, you nailed it.
A couple of things I did was I just took the VC of 80 nearly every week.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I didn't want to get stuck with a dud 6 on a Sunday or an injury because what I found was most weeks there wasn't the upside guy to come later in the week who I could go, I could score 150 here. I think, for example, last weekend at our Allianz Stadium day, Teddy crashed over late, got him up to 77. I'm like, it's a free loop. Let's take 77. Which was a bit sad because when I was on 40, I'd get to have a free crack at like a Lehigh Pawadi. Lehigh scored 59 the game after, so it ended up making me points. Same thing this weekend. I would have captained, I can't remember who it was, but it was going to be Terrell May.
Yeah.
We were speaking about, called just Sunday. I was like, I reckon Terrell goes mad today. Ball in play a lot versus the Was. Teddy's on 77, but Teddy will go up a little bit. You take 80, 85 for free any day of the week. Different the other way around. If Terrell May was your VC and he got his 80 and Teddy was still to play, I'd go Teddy every day of the week because he's got the 200 in him. But for me, I was like, let's just bank those points. And a couple of times, the other thing I did with even like my boy Karaz, I remember not really wanting him for one of the bye weeks. It was either the matchup or something. There was something about it, no Crichton and that. But 90% of people had him. in the top ranks. I'm like, he could just ruin my season.
Yeah.
If things goes away, he scores 3, he goes 160. I go, that will just set me back so far. So I got him in, and he got 58 or something. Could have taken the risk on someone else, but it was that risk mitigation of like, you can't always just go, oh, I'm just backing myself in here. Sometimes you've just got to go, oh, that could really, really hurt me. So let's just offset that with a smart decision, tailored with some other things where you do back yourself when the calculations add up a bit more, or it's a smart play. Yeah, and sort of going back to that theme of just being very clear with your trade plans through that period, and I've sort of spoken about Guru with it. The buy period, like the top 13 rule was designed to make it easier. For nerd supercoaches like us who spend our life looking at it 24/7 and planning for it, I shouldn't say annoying, it makes it harder to make up ground. But that is the reality, that it is harder to make up ground. You can still do it substantially, but not as easy to do. So you approach it differently, and you don't look at it and go, I'll burn a bunch of trades through this period. Instead, like, I'll look to save a few more for the run home. And basically, as I alluded to before, it was bringing in a gun, who I know I'd have for the season. It was bringing in a player who I knew was going to generate cash and provide coverage. Connor Tracy, 6 weeks straight as well. I remember you got Connor. It's good call, because he's going to play 6 weeks running. Can rely on him to be there. Yeah. It wouldn't be like bringing in a player at 550k who I'm like, I know I'll be getting rid of. If I was doing that, or someone who was going to bring in cash or had the potential to be a keeper. And examples of those guys are like Jerome Hughes, like Jaden Campbell, like Mark Nwanganitawazi, these blokes where they're not definitely keepers, but there's every chance that they do end up being, and they're being guns and come in there. So that's sort of how I approached it. And yeah, and general thoughts on the buy period, you happy with the changes after 2 years of it? I mean, I'd go for 17, but that's me. Yeah. And I want the game to be accessible for everyone. Yeah. Not everyone's obsessed with it or, looking at every minute. So, yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah. I think it's good. And you mentioned something there. It's like, well, if we used to go real hard in that period, now it might be the opposite. You take your advantage by letting others chase trades or late panic trades, chasing points, and you can, put the feet up a bit. I use plenty of trades leading into it and not a whole lot throughout. So that was sort of my tactic around it. But just clear-headed. I think just know what your plan is. Don't panic. Wait. Yeah. Some poor bugger messaged me the other day. He's like, "So I've panicked," and he was so sad. I'm like, "Mate, it happens. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Maybe it pays off later." And don't panic. Just cop a little hit at some stage if things don't go your way, and then you'll make it up later. That's the other one through that major buy period. It's particularly on those 3 major buy rounds. It's just staying a little bit flexible. You might go, "I've got 13 players this week. I'd like to have 14 for a bit of insurance." You might go, "I want to make this trade," and it's late on in the round. And your players might all score well, and your worst score might be 40. And then you're like, oh, do I really need to make this trade for a bloke who might come out and get 60 or 70, or do I save that trade? It happened to me, I think I did that maybe the second major buy round or third major buy round, and I think I avoided using a trade because I didn't need to. But on the first major buy round, I had from memory Connor Tracy, who scored about 18, and Dill Brown, who did similar enough. I went, so you made a move. All of a sudden, I needed to make some trades, so I did. Matty, what about for yourself, mate? I know I'm throwing you on the spot here, but it's a little bit different for you, the angle you approach it, because you are a little bit newer to Supercoach. What do you make of the major buy and those top 13 scoring plays in the 3 major rounds? I love it. I love it. I think it's great. It takes away, it takes away. I think it was too hard. Having 17 plays is too hard, but I think it's still easy. Sorry, it's still hard enough. It's still enough of a challenge that you still got to be on, like, all the time. And, like, if you forget to do it, you're still cooked. Like, it's not like you can just get away with it. That's why I think I think having the 13 players in those 3 weeks is, like, the perfect thing. And also, it actually, I found it actually makes the week after the major buy rounds much harder, because you're so focused on that 13. Yeah. And then the next week is back to 17, and there could be 3 teams at the bye, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. Like, for example, this week I only had 17. Plus players that come back from Origin. I actually think they've hit a really nice sweet spot with it. That's what I think. And that's probably where, like, the more obsessed supercoaches like ourselves buy the mini buy-outs, to Matty's point, where we do look at that sort of stuff. All right, I'm going to be a little bit short there, so I need to be cautious. The casual super coach probably does get caught a little bit short. And Matty, again, I'm putting you on the spot, but was there any lessons or anything you learnt from it across the period? Most of my lessons came last year. I think the simple mistake that I highlighted earlier, where in that
13 player one where I didn't click my reserves. Like that was last year, so I didn't really do anything like that this year. I think I was probably a bit overcautious this year, and I think that it's not so much the buy period. I just kind of assumed about 30 people would play Origin when 17 actually do per team. So for example, like that cost me Teddy this year, for example. Like, I was like, okay, I could get Teddy or I could get Drinkwater, and Drinkwater's been fine, but I haven't had Teddy until I'm getting him this week. I haven't had, and because I thought maybe after game one, Dylan Edwards, he didn't look great. This is before game one. Like he was ginger, if you cast your mind back. So I probably overthought it, overthought the Origin aspect of it, and underthought what teams are actually playing. I for whatever reason, I tried my best, but I didn't really look at it until 2 or 3 weeks out, and it wasn't too late. But I'd probably give myself an extra week this year, next year.
Yeah, sometimes the best approach is just the Desi Creek approach. Don't overthink it and it'll probably work out for you.
I should say, I forgot to mention, pretty key, but I barely thought about it until a couple of weeks out. Like, I better start having a look now.
We used to plan from round one and be like, all right, if the deal breaker between if you were 50-50 with players was, all right, one has better buy coverage.
And now to totally scrap that.
Yeah.
Thanks. Shout out to Desi there. Definitely took that on board.
Yeah.
And I don't know where this fits in, but I forgot to mention something about Sunday as well. Karapani, I was telling you how terrified I was.
Yeah,
they didn't even look like going left.
Not even close.
I knew from 5 minutes in, I'm like, there's a game plan to try go through the Titans here. I'm like, how is this happening?
Yeah.
Because I thought he was going to score 5, I swear to God.
It's all sunshine and roses for the Spy at the moment.
It'll come crashing at some point, don't worry.
Guys, super excited to have partnered with BetBuzz for the remainder of the 2025 season. They've been on fire for us lately. Week 1. We had Papenhuyzen into Jason Saab anytime to combine for, I think, 3 or more tries it was for the SC Playbook multi. Paps got ruled out, so they refunded bets before the Manly game and let the bet ride for Saab. So it was essentially a free bet. Last week, we had Kickout and Piakura to combine for 2 or more tries. Turns out Billy Kicks was crook before the game. Piakura was concussed trying to score a try in the first about 10 minutes. So they refunded that one for punters as well. So they've looked after us 2 weeks on the trot. Elite work from the team there. This week, our SC Playbook multi is Hudson Young and Kyo Weeks to cross for 2 tries at $3.80 down in the capital. Looks like a one-sided affair to me. If you don't rate that, you can take him to combine for 1 try to score 1 try between them or for 3 tries. Take the odds you want, but I reckon they get 2 between them. $3.80 looks a pretty good price to me. Think they'll put a score on the Dragons down in the capital. To check them out and follow our bet, head to the link in the show description or across our social channels later in the week. What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Spy, second major topic of the show, it is the flex position and what our plans are there, because initially we had this pegged in about, all right, do you trade one of Hughes or Hines, who both turned up last week, to Nathan Cleary, or do you trade an underperforming fullback like a Ryan Papenhuyzen to Nathan Cleary and run a third halfback in the flex position? Papenhuyzen's been ruled out, so you go, cool, Cleary in and just run that as a flex. But with Cleary out as well, it becomes probably a little bit less relevant this week, but we need to cast our mind ahead to next week when people are looking at Payne Haas and what trades look like and do we free up cash. What are you thinking in that flex position? Are you and Ryan Papenhuyzen in general this week, who prior to being ruled out, he was already the 3rd most traded player. What's your plans with Paps, and what's your plans with those three halfbacks that we have an option for?
Well, Ryan Papenhuyzen is now under 50% ownership in the top 1% of players. Yeah. So if I put my Desi Creek hat on, I'm like, well, I want to bloody hold him.
Yeah.
Imagine having a flying Papenhuyzen running home for you when more than half the comp sold him. So the question is, right, is Pappy going to come back fresh, killing it and goal kicking from a nice rest up that they've tactically given him? Because that could add up as well. Just have a few weeks off, mate. You're sweet.
We're winning games. We don't need you.
We don't want you playing 27 straight weeks. So I'm hoping that's it. In which case he'd come back and he'd goal kick. Or does he come back slightly ginger, maybe a little bit low on fitness, not goal kicking? Because that's 2 very different scenarios. I'm pretty willing to see at least 1 game of Pappy hopefully next week. It would be pretty tough if he's not playing next week.
That's the issue, right? What if it's another week?
But I'd love to see one round back. Just see how he looks. Be happy to move him after that if needed. But he could just be the most awesome pod, mini pod you'd call him. Like, if he's down to 40% ownership or something like that, could be a comp winner, that guy. He also has Parramatta in 2 weeks. He plays Brisbane twice, who Melbourne always torch Brisbane. Don't know why it is. They always have. Yeah. And if you look at the averages of the Melbourne players versus Brisbane, they're all like 90, 100, 110.
The draw is brutal, though.
I don't reckon it's that bad.
Sorry, when I say brutal, it could be a hell of a lot better. Outside of the Eels game, so they go, when Paps is back, Roosters, Eels, Broncos, Panthers, Bulldogs, Roosters, Broncos. He can score bloody well against everyone there. Probably the toughest is the Bulldogs. That's down at Amy Park in Melbourne. But the only one where I sit there and go like, all right, 180 on the cards, which we know they're the big ones that you want Paps for, is Parramatta.
I reckon he could do it against Roosters, Brisbane, or Para. Even if 180 becomes 140.
Yeah.
He averages 109 versus Brisbane in his career. They feast on the Broncos. But in saying that, if Brisbane go to another gear under Madge heading into finals, then it does start to get tougher. If Penrith stick at it, that starts to get tougher. But the fact they get Para around 22, in short, I'd love to hold him for around 22 versus Para, then RSS.
I'll be going through every contact that I have to try and find out word on
what's
him.
Actually happening,
because they've given nothing. And as you said, if I knew they'd just been very cautious with him and rest, and there's not much to it, and he comes back, and as you said, goal kicks, I'd hold. But what if he sits out next week? What if he comes back and doesn't goal kick? They don't have another day game. They don't play their earliest game for the rest of the season is, I think, a 7:35 p.m. game.
The night's hurt.
They're all night games.
Yep.
If there's 5 games at 3 o'clock kickoff there or 2 o'clock, that changes lots.
Yep.
So I'll be trying to find out and dive into a few Melbourne contacts, and if we can find out anything, it'll be going in the Playbook WhatsApp group. But
in saying all that, not dropping Tedesco, I'm not dropping Drinkwater, Hughes or Hines, so it's Pappy or no one. If it's going to go to Cleary or something like that.
That's where it's tough, because I'm like, I was pretty vocal the last few weeks that I wanted to hold Nico for the run home, and you were saying, nah, you reckon he's the sell. If he's a sell, you didn't say Cleary's a must by any means, but a lot of people were in the camp.
He was my option at the time,
a
lot
of people were in the camp, and to be honest, everyone I spoke to were in the camp of hold Hughes. Now, Hughes turned up as well, but Nico looked unbelievable and scored 137 odd. So now you're, all right, bloody hard trading either of them out. So what's the plan? Because Nathan Cleary comes back with an incredibly soft few games. It does get tougher after that, to be fair, but he's got 2 great games ahead at home. What are you thinking?
Worth diving into that, though. So misses this week.
Gets harder after.
Tigers and Titans, sure, great lineups, awesome.
They've got 150 written all over them, though.
He doesn't typically score very well versus West Tigers. I don't know why, but it's 73. It might be a style thing, because the way I've seen the Tigers in recent years, teams that can fizz a footy around bamboozle them. But teams that play that tough game, Tigers go, all right, to win this match, we just need to put our ass on the line and work hard. So maybe there's something to it. The Titans, crikey, that could be anything. Titans can be okay one week. They're all right on Sunday, but then terrible the next, or good for 40 minutes, then bad for 20. But then Newcastle, Melbourne, Canberra, Bulldogs, pretty sure they're the top 4 defence in the whole comp.
It's brutal.
Into Saints in round 27, which he may not even play. If they're sitting in a spot not playing. So, geez, that's a good antipod on Nath. You just have to get through 2 weeks.
I tell you what, it's great the way that it's panned out with these 3 halfbacks and the flex option, just because it'll keep teams a little bit different.
Yeah, it's good.
So what are you thinking? Is it a case of just wait a week and watch?
Oh, I'm purely waiting a week to see.
Because I'm tempted to flip Pappy this week. I'm getting over it. And that is a key spot in my team. There's some good players that could come in, but I'm also like, do I wait till next week if Paps isn't named? I'll just go him to Cleary.
There is someone I want, is Dylan Edwards.
Yes.
Yeah. Because
we'll get to trade shortly.
Yeah.
But
answer your Pap question, I'd have to.
It's so hard. Like I said, we record this straight after TLT comes out, and there were so many bombshells in it that I said the trade talk will be very open this week. So we're fence sitting a bit, Spy, but I mean, I'll get to my trade plan shortly, but I have to sit down and work out, do I flip Paps this week to a gun fullback? I'm looking at Edwards / potentially a flyer on Latrell, or do I wait till next week and maybe get Cleary? But I'm thinking of fullback. I'm thinking of one of the gun fullbacks.
I really like Edwards.
Yeah. All right. So, in short, you're going to wait and watch?
There's a chance I moved Edwards this week. I'd love some mail if you can get that for us, please.
I'll do my
but
best.
Current plans are to do nothing this week on any of my squad.
Yeah. It's very tricky. All right. We'll learn more throughout the week and update things as we go. Hot topic Spy, most traded in and out players this week. Number 2 is Hudson Young at 749k with an 81-point average for the season and a 105 break even. I'm not sure. I mean, to be honest, this order's probably changed slightly since teams came out because I did it just before they were dropped. But basically, Hudson Young, I think he's probably the premium option for people looking to replace Dylan Lucas. Angus Crichton, he's 591k with a break even of 69, averaging 64 for the season. What are your Dylan Lucas plans?
It's pretty easy for me. I can go directly from Dylan Lucas to Payne Haas next week.
Yeah.
So I've already just penciled that in and said that's happening. Leaves me like $12,000 or something. That's what gets a little bit tricky for me because I could just then sit on 6 trades and just see what happens, make some moves.
What have you got, 7?
7 at the moment. So go to 6 with Haas. And in order to get someone like Hudson Young, I've got to do a downgrade as well, which I'm not against because I tell you what, Huddy Young, very keen on him. Would like to know he's healthy as well.
Yes.
He was carrying that foot injury, playing through it, so it's not that bad. But
Foot or groin?
I
Osteopubis.
don't know. One of the two.
Osteitis pubis?
Lower body. Under the hip. But either way,
Yeah.
it's not a sore shoulder. You know, those things can limit your output. So means I'm happy enough just to watch Huddo this week, Hudson Young, but it's a great matchup. If he's fit and firing, he could go mental.
Groin, Spy, osteitis pubis.
Okay.
Pubis, groin.
That's good then, because they're flary.
They are flary.
Yep.
Especially Ricky's, if there's any concern over it, with the way the Rays are sitting, they're not going to mess around with him.
The other thing is, sure, he might play, but if Raiders are out comfortably, off you get, mate. No need to risk him.
You've got Hosking, who's fully fit. You've got Simi Sasangi.
Yeah,
they've got some soft games. I think they should get a few leads in theory.
Yeah, so based on all that, I'm a little bit tentative, but if I could have gone Pappy directly to Hudson this weekend, I probably would have. But I'm not using a downgrade to do it. I'm not going that hard. And if I'm going to use a downgrade at all, it will be enough money to give me Hudson and a Cleary, open up a lot of funds. But I'm pretty happy to sit back. It's a long time to the weekend still, but yeah, that injury concern and just seeing how he is after Origin, plus the Raiders, maybe some early spells. They got a bye in round 24, which doesn't worry me that much. We've got depth to cover, but
every side's set up differently. But I'm thinking Angus Crichton, Lucas to Crichton. I could also do similar and just wait till next week and go Lucas to Payne Haas, which is an option, but I've got AFB, Fanil Blake, who's been underwhelming. I've got Zach Hosking, who you could hold him for the rest of the season, he'd be fine. But there's Matty Nicholson to come back as well. Sungy's been playing great. So I think he's probably a sell at some point too. So I've got options, and to trade to both Haas and to Crichton. And I'm just looking at making the move to Haas next week, who I think will be a must-post buy. And Crichton's just going to free up a fair bit of extra coin to enable doing that. So
hard to knock Crichton, especially with Sammy Walker back.
Yeah, so this season he scored 1 try and had no try assists. He's had 3 line breaks and 3 line break assists. That is nothing for him. He's averaging 65 points. Not saying that's necessarily going to come, but Sammy Walker back, it can't be any worse in terms of major attacking stats. So I like him.
Yeah, I'll tell you what though, he's not a shade on himself from last year.
No, he's not.
He's just not. That power and just bumping blokes is gone and running through people. So
doesn't look as good, does
I'm
he?
not so convinced he's going to be awesome. He'll be good. He's not going to let you down too much, but
well, I think worst case is you get him in and he averages 60 to 65, and he'll do. I don't think he'll be worse than that. He'll do a job. Upside is if he can get back to anywhere near his best,
then you're cheering.
Yeah, and there could be big ones. So number 4, Kyo Weeks, 578k dual position. He's averaging 58 points per game with a negative 71 break even. Dual 5'8 fullback, scored about 8 trillion points last game before the bye. Oh, geez, what do you think?
Worth noting, he ended up 156 that game.
And he had every attacking stat imaginable.
Anyone else would have scored 340. So he doesn't base much.
What was it? 3 tries, 3 assists?
Can't remember exactly, but it was one of those dominant performances of the year.
Yeah.
In saying all that, my thoughts haven't changed much from when I said pre that round. It's not that I don't like him because he's got the upside. I just don't know when you'd ever play him. Sort of overly confidently. If you've got a shallower squad where you need to add some upside guys that you'd play, he's the kind of guy that could. He's coming off back-to-back tons.
I mean, Parramatta this week in Canberra. You buy him, you play him.
Oh, it's great.
Knights in Canberra the week after. Their defence is decent, but still, Knights in Canberra.
Wouldn't even dream of playing him against the Knights. Not in a million years.
Knights are losing a lot of players.
You can cut me up if I'm wrong on that one, but
they've also lost. I know they're not defensive powerhouse, but they've lost Ponga. They've lost Fletcher Sharp. They've lost Dylan Lucas. Like they're
not as strong as they were, but
they're running out of steam.
Weeks versus Knights, jeez.
Anyway, you see him that week. Dragons. Yep. They've got the Dragons at Wing Stadium, Wollongong. After that.
Yep.
They've got Manly in Canberra the week after. I play him all those weeks, maybe not the Knights. The Tigers in round 26 in Canberra. He'll score 200 in that.
If you're getting him, you're getting him now. For Parra and
It's
Saints.
this week or never, for sure.
Parra and Saints for the next 3 weeks.
I'm not for what it's worth, but...
But I just, same logic as 3 weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago. We'd probably already own a Munster or Jaden Campbell. Do you need to spend a trade to get a weeks in who you might not play? You could, if you want to have a crack and get yourself a bit of a pod with upside, go for it. But I mean, if trades are running low, I'd prefer to just probably sit back and attack someone else later in the year with upside against a depleted side. 3 tries,
a try assist, and a bunch of line break assists in that game. So lots of attack in that one. We'll get to she's going to come my trade plans. Number 9, Kalani going at 198k dual position. You know, Spy, that I hate a nuff player, a non-active player who will do nothing for you in a position where you only get one backup. Kalani going could be the exception because there's a lot of duds around there at the moment in Sandon Smith, Riley Smith, a few others. If you're a Connor Watson owner and say maybe you want Harry Grant, you can have Connor in the back row and Kalani going who's dual 2RF hooker, and you can do a little switcheroo there, so you've actually got cover it there. So if you're in that situation where you've got Grant and Watson, I don't mind it, but you'd want to have both.
Yep, and critical that Watson is in your 2RF back row, because otherwise it's a total waste of time. I mean, that's how it would work out anyway, but I don't think he's a great downgrade if that's your setup, Harry and Watson.
If you've got only one...
Any other reason, there's no need to do it.
Correct. Yeah. I agree. Number 12, Blake Brayley. We've touched on him in recent weeks, but hasn't he exploded? 662k, 63 points per game, averaging 117 points last week. A break even of 57, but I mean, you might have even touched on it. I think you did, Spy talk about a month ago that just the intent in Blake Brayley to run the ball. He's got such a bloody good running game and never seems to use it. I don't know why. Last 4 scores, 117, 48, 97 and 102. In that time, he's basing early to mid-50s as well, about 53 points. What do you reckon for those still looking for a number 9? Has he eclipsed Watson or Grant potentially? You've got to pay up at 662k, but he's playing some good footy. The draw's soft, plenty of games at Sharp Park.
Yeah, I wish I got him last week. That goes without saying.
Yes,
117. I mean, there's not only has it been noticeable that he's running the ball properly, but he got told that by the coaches. I'm not sure where I read it, but they said, mate, use your running game, back yourself. And it's paying dividends. We see what it's doing. And that's exactly the point that started was a month ago. So, good luck to those who have him. If you still need a hooker, I'd love to own him. Decent soft run coming up, running the footy.
A few day games.
He's just giving himself some upside now, his running game coming out. So, I really like him.
Yep.
Fair play to him.
What if you had to pick one of Brayley, Grant or Watson? Keeping in mind their prices. They're pretty similar. Brayley's about 60-odd-K more, 50-odd than Watson.
I'm nearly tempted on Brayley.
He's
in
good,
form.
Yeah.
In form. Harry will be decent because he always is, but does he have the upside of previous years? I'm not sure yet. Connor, I played last week, brought him in. Super solid, but did not want to run the ball. Any chance of taking the line on? He'd do the Damien Cook halfway then pass, which was super frustrating, but hopefully that comes back soon. But that caps him.
I brought Grant over Watson last week, and I spoke to you about it for 20 minutes on the phone. There was nothing in it, and there's still nothing in it. My gut feel just said I want Harry Grant. I think he's best hooker in the game and in Supercoach, so I went with it. And to be honest, he's 50 last week. I just needed a hooker, and I wasn't expecting him to play as many minutes as he did, so I was happy to cop a smaller one, and I'll take the 50. But you add Blake Brayley in, he's the man in form. He's the man with the hot hand of the three, so take your pick.
They're all pretty good.
On the most solidly spy, number 2, this will be music to your ears, Josiah Karapani at 478k with a break-even of 71. He will not be leaving my team this week. And look, if you move him to a Zach Lomax or someone, I get it. Next week, Parramatta at Suncorp. The week after, the Bunnies at Suncorp. I'm going to hold him for those 2 games. I'll probably play him, and then I'll flip him the week after to a certain H. Farnworth.
Yes.
If I have an extra 500k in my bank.
Everyone just sell him. Just take away that nightmare from me.
I think he's a hold for those 2 games.
I'll be scared again for the Para game, let's be honest. But hopefully by then, not many people own or play him. But if the game plan is to hit the edges, could be anything. Just thankfully it wasn't on Sunday.
Yeah. Guys and girls, the end of the financial year has just passed. This means it's time to get your finances sorted. For any of our tradie listeners out there, in particular, end of our tradies, end of financial year is the time to look at asset financing for some new tools and equipment, maybe even a new work truck if the bank account is looking good enough. You might even be looking to get into your first home or refinance your current home to save some cash. Have a convo with Paddy and the Mortgage Choice SCW team. It'll make a huge difference. Turn that dream into reality. Get that conversation started. Get a greater understanding as to what it takes to get into the housing market, whether you want to be there in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years or 5 years. Get educated on it, and chatting to Paddy and his team is the way to do it. Normally that'd sting you $129, but mention SC Playbook when you reach out and it's completely free of charge. So flick them a message on Instagram at mortgagechoice_SCW or give them a buzz on 02 9521 1611. Doesn't matter where in Australia you are based. Spy trade plans. What are you looking at this week?
This week, nothing. However, I'll lay it out for you and give us your thoughts. So I've got 7 trades right now. Dylan Lucas will go to Payne Haas next week. Straight swap, not much money in the bank, 6 trades remaining. I then really want, if I could have my pick, Hudson and Cleary, if I can fit him. But they're the 2 I'd have an eye on, particularly Hudson in that back row. Really would be keen. In order to get those blokes, I need a downgrade though. So it's 6 trades go down to 3 in order to do that. So look, I'm half tempted if my boys keep doing a job just to hold those 6 trades and really try and do some damage over the last, what are we up to, around 20? There's about 8 weeks left.
Yeah, plenty of time.
Still a long time to go. So as it stands, Haas in next week, then I might not do anything for a few weeks, but just wait to swoop and go, I love that matchup.
Who's the worst player on your team this week?
In terms of who I'm actually playing.
Yes. And this is what everyone needs to consider this week. If you're unsure about Cleary and the flex and a third fullback, whatever that sort of stuff, but your team, your 17, 18 are rock solid this week, is if you bring someone in that you're not entirely certain that you want for the run home, or there are a few queries around, like who are you dropping to get them in? Because it might not make that much of a difference. And that's where Angus cried, and I've got concerns around. So, yeah. Yeah,
my last 2 spots will be out of Kikau against St George's soft edge, Nwanga Tawasi, and Lehigh Hopewadi at fullback.
Yeah.
It's strong.
You don't really need to make a move.
No.
With your amount of trades.
There's much point. So, have to sit back.
So, I'm in a similar boat where I don't necessarily need to trade this week, but I've got 11 in the bank. And the only players I really need to get back, it's Payne Haas, who's locked in next week. So whatever I do this week will ensure there's enough cash or a plan to do that. That is, I've had a lot of weeks this year where I've known what I'm doing the following week more than I'm doing the current week, but the plan will be to go more than likely, it'll either be Lucas or say a Hosking or AFB to Haas next week. Not going to cost too much, which is good. And yeah, because I've got the 11 trades, I need Haas back, maybe Nathan Cleary. I sort of want to see how that all plays out, whether he's goal kicking, a few other things. But outside of those, the only other one is Herbie Farnworth. And there's a question coming up on him later, which I'll answer. But I'm looking at Herbie sort of post-Dolphins. But other than that, there's no one where I'm like, I need this bloke back in my team.
That's it.
I sorted my hooking spot last week. I got Zach Lomax in last week. And then my only other potential headaches are like back up at 5'8" with Dill Brown, back up at hooker if something happens to Harry Grant. So it'd be good to have trades for that anyway. So, but with 11 left, I can make a few moves.
Definitely can.
So, yeah, look, I've got a decision, and I'm eyeing off maybe Papenhuyzen to Latrell Mitchell or Dylan Edwards. I think Dylan Edwards is the option. Does he kick or does Paul Alamotti? Alamotti's probably only in their short term anyway with Isaac Tungo out, but with their draw in coming weeks, you could potentially play a bit of fullback roulette with Edwards into Latrell or whoever it might be. But yeah, a big decision to make. Well, I go Papenhuyzen to Edwards, or I probably won't do Latrell, but he's so exciting.
Yeah, I haven't checked South's run, but he's exciting.
It's tough for the next few weeks, and then it opens
For what
up.
it's worth, Trell, Matty's opinion in a second, but Trell doesn't look like Trell to me this year when we talk peak power and athletic dominance. He's ball playing beautifully. He's still a great player, but I don't look at him and go, oh, that's the Trell we know.
No, I'll almost go there. I reckon he's looking great. I reckon it's the people around him.
Yeah.
Like, there's only so much he can do. And there's a couple of games that we've lost this year. Like, obviously, he won us the game against the Broncos. He's won us pretty much every game we've won, he's won it. But there's a game against Melbourne that he set up every try. We lost by 1. We should have won. There was a 36-30 game against the Warriors where he basically did everything. Like, he can only do what...
I might clarify because I don't want to sound like I'm knocking Trell because I freaking love the bloke. I meant more he's your ball playing option these days. All those set-up tries he's doing winning the matches are putting blokes in space and whatnot. Haven't seen much this year of just going, I'm just going to run straight over the top of 4 blokes and score because that's just Supercoach points.
Yeah, that's
deluxe.
true. That's true.
Well, the
It's
question
often 20 points from a nice cut ball.
The question is, Matty, how do the Bunnies... I know this is a $1 million question, but how do the Bunnies finish the year? Do they have many troops coming back? Players seem to be in, out. Cody's gone for the season. And how does Latrell finish the year?
How Latrell finishes the year is the hardest question of them all. I believe that South are only getting worse. Like, because Campbell Graham's now out. I saw a thing going around a few minutes ago, actually, that he might sit out the year. David Wiley, apparently he's about to sit out the year. Cody Walker, he's sitting out the year. The Campbell Graham one's unsubstantiated. It's just something I just saw, but things are coming up every 2 seconds. We're losing more and more troops, and I think they've got almost both eyes on next year. So I wouldn't back South to make their way out of the top 4 this year. I certainly wouldn't be.
Okay.
How Trell finishes the year, I don't know. Latrell has seemed to be. I think he's killed it this year, to be honest. But you know, there's some games he hasn't been able to put an impact on purely because who's he got around him?
Yeah.
It's been a disaster of a year. Not for Latrell, for the Rabbitohs.
So that's it. The trades I'm looking at are potentially an Angus Crichton for Dylan Lucas, potentially Papenhuyzen doing Edwards or Latrell Mitchell, and as I said, all this news is just broken, so I could sit here and make stuff up, but at the moment I just don't know.
If I was you with 11 trades, I'd go Pappy to Edwards this week.
Yeah.
And then reassess on Pappy upon his return.
The other one I don't mind doing, and now that Brown's actually missed the 18, I don't really need to do it, but just to facilitate the Payne Haas one easily next week, I don't mind Dill Brown to Tanner Boyd. Tanner, who scored 70 last week, had I think 3 or 4 try contributions, a try assist, scored 70 points, a goal kicking in a really good Warriors outfit with a soft run home. I wouldn't look to play him any week. He'd just be a backup at 5'8" to Jaden Campbell, and again, it'd be to free up money to facilitate elsewhere. So that's one that I don't mind. Matty, what are you looking at, mate?
So I mentioned before that I've missed Tedesco. I absolutely can't. I have to get him in. I have to get him in immediately. So I'm going Papenhuyzen to Teddy. Who's the other one? Dylan Lucas out, Crichton in. That's a pretty easy one. And this is somewhat controversial, but I'm going to go Latu Fainu to Tanner Boyd. I know Latu Fainu is playing the Titans this week and he's every chance of tearing them up, but I'm not going to play either of them anyway. And I'm just going to bank that. I think it's like 70, 80 grand.
Well, you need it to facilitate the other trades, right?
Well, I do. Yes. Yeah. I need to do that to facilitate this trade. I could get Jethro from the Toggies and like do it that way, but no, I think I'm gonna go with this. I think the Warriors. I've been a Warriors. What's the word? Well, I mean, I thought they'd get the spoon. Put it this way. And then when Metcalf got injured and Barnett got injured, I thought, oh well, they're gone. And they're going good. And I think it's time for me to realise that the Warriors are here this year. And Tanner Boyd's a good player. Always rated him. So, yeah, I think I'm going to do that. And then I'll the Cleary news was I was jumping up and down. To be honest, it was we were discussing at length yesterday what to do with. I was actually considering putting Cleary as my flex, keeping Hughes, I know that's for next week now, but him being out is good because firstly he's playing South. Secondly, that's a headache gone for this week, but we'll think about it next week.
Spy skippers, pretty open week, bloody tough.
Great week for it. I'm not super keen on Teddy this week. I think Sharks could turn up and have a bit of a crack. Doesn't mean Teddy can't ton, but there's every risk he goes. He's been pretty close to a 40 the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Does he bump on out or does he find his rhythm and go 120 again? I'm not sure, but he only scored 65 against him last time. Ideally, I'd go VC Teddy. I'm liking this tactic of late into someone later. But Herbie does have the Cowboys Thursday night at Suncorp, so I think I nearly have to have the VC on Herbie. 150 against him last time. Ugh. Does have a new edge, though. Like a new 5'8" is a big thing.
Yeah.
Just throws out the whole sink of a back line. So there is that to consider. Jeez, it's wide open. If we have a look through, Jaden Campbell's great and has upside, but he has low scores even as well.
Injuries are more scary to me.
Injuries. Ooh. Carrazza's probably on the wrong side.
He hasn't been getting great ball on the other side.
Crichton hasn't been playing though.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, Crichton's back. Lomax has got Canberra. Garrick's got Melbourne. Left edge against Melbourne, though, not the worst. It is so wide open.
No
Carroll
love
may bounce back.
So, for what it's worth, I don't own him. I think you lock Herbie against the Cowboys, right?
He's my VC.
Yeah.
Yep. It just means I either have to straight see Teddy or skip him.
I'm
just slightly awkward.
Yeah. I'm thinking a VC on Drinky.
Yep.
Dolphins have now Marky Nichols out, Finny Furiaki out. Like, their injury toll is mounting.
That's ridiculous.
That's Suncorp. So I'm thinking a VC on Drinky. And then captain. If I brought in Edwards, I'd probably captain him against the Bunnies. So I don't love the Teddy play. I think there's a good opportunity to go against the grain. But, look, it is safe. So
might go Kiraz.
I don't mind Jerome Hughes against Manly.
That's the other one.
Yeah.
Easy.
I think he's a serious play. So
there is an issue, though. We've hit the time of year where you've got to drop a gun out of your side if you're going to loop.
Yes.
Which I'm not very keen on. So it's going to take much bigger scores now to loop. I haven't even thought about it yet.
You want 3 figures.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say, whilst I said 90 to you 10 weeks ago, now I'm probably up towards like 120.
Yeah.
If I'm having to drop like kick out of my side.
Especially if you've got a little spud on your bench somewhere.
Thankfully, I do not. But, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know yet. It's wide open and I like it.
Spy, we need to wrap it up, but any quick major sit v starts. The sits are more important in my eyes. Who are you looking at sitting out of your 17 this week?
Looks like Lehigh Hopper Whitey may get the sit for me. Fullback versus Melbourne, I actually don't mind it. But I'd have to, if I wanted to play Lehigh, I'd have to sit Nwanga Tawase or Kikau. Typically, I'd probably sit Kikau, but against Saints, he could do it.
Kikau was crook going into the game last week.
That is good to know.
He didn't play 80 minutes, and that is why.
I was wondering what was doing.
Yes.
Thought he was going to score 3 times, and they just wrapped him up.
Yeah, he was crook.
There you go. Well, I think I'll sit Lehigh. I could sit Nwanga Tawase versus Sharks as well.
You could.
I'll have a look at their matchups and where they sort of tend to concede their tries. That's a dangerous game as well. It's wide open, but yeah, it's that time of year. We've got to make some big decisions. Marky Mark does have a bigger upside than Lehigh, you'd think, so that's probably why I play him.
For what it's worth, I don't love a night game down in Melbourne. I don't like the Lehigh play. I'd sit him.
Gagai put 100 on him last week. It was day game, but
he played
fullback.
So different.
Yeah, it is.
For myself, again, trade's going to dictate this. Like, if I were to go Lucas to Crichton and Papenhuyzen to Edwards, I'd then be sitting like Hosking, who I think is a good play, Fanua Blake, who I'd be happy to sit, except he's playing his 200th game, so I'm kind of like...
Yeah.
He played less than minutes last week. I think he lost his pop and he had the funeral that day.
Right.
Into the, Fitzy probably going, all right, he's going to... We want him playing big minutes for his 200, so I actually think he's a pretty good play for this one.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be sitting Hosking.
So that's what I mean. Like, if I get Crichton in, I'm sitting like Hosking, I'm sitting Fanua Blake.
Hosking's running at 2 young halves as well.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm questioning these trades. But I've got like blokes like Raymond who I won't play, Rinakama. So there's a few major ones. Anyway, I need to work out what I do.
The other thing I was going to mention quickly before I forget, but sitting back a week or two could just mean injuries dictate and allow you to do stuff without having to make decisions.
It's a good play when you're not forced, isn't it?
Yep. You go, well, this bloke's now hurt. I can do whatever I want with his money. So, yeah.
All righty. Couple of quick questions before we wrap it up because we've gone a bit long. Spy, first question from Jacob Sutherland. And it's a good one and following on from the captaincy debate, but thoughts on a sneaky captaincy on Eli Katoa, 2 tons in his last 3 games. He's never really in the captaincy debate, but should he be?
Right edge. He's got Brooksy's edge. I don't mind that.
So
I think this week he's in the discussion.
His lowest score of the... Yeah, so you wouldn't do it on a week where there's obvious high upside options. Not to say he doesn't have high upside, but lowest score this year was a 37 back in round 7. Outside of that, his lowest score all year was 53. He's got a 5-round average of 87, 3-round of 95. Like, in a tricky week, I don't mind it.
Could do worse. I'd still probably prefer like a Terrell May, who didn't go great last weekend, but gee, gets an easy 85 week in, week out. But yeah, Ellie's a great player. He's in form. Combination with Hughes is good. I might have a little look into Manly's edge defence there, but I'm pretty sure that exact channel isn't their favourite area to tackle. Yeah. So, yeah, might end up on him.
They've got a lot of channels where they don't love tackling Spy. I don't mind it this week. Any other week, though, I think there'll be better matchups with higher upside on the run home. Next question coming in from... Oh, this is a good one. Maxie Bryden asked me to put this one in. I don't want to sell Papy as I'm not sold on the fullback alternatives, but my lack of clarity on his injury is worrying me. Is it worth getting Nick Meaney into my CTW rotation as a hedge so that I'll always have the Storm fullback?
The old hedge play, the old handcuff. When you put it that way, Maxie, I don't mind it. I like where your head's at. I'm not saying definitely do it, but the other thing is what will probably happen is you'll get Meaney, then Papy will come back. Or if Papy doesn't come back, you'll then sell Papy. So you're not really hedging, are you? Because if Papy doesn't come back...
You don't hold him.
You're not holding him.
And also, if Papy comes back and doesn't goal kick, he's probably a sell. And Nick Meaney playing at centre, even with goal kicking, you wouldn't play.
Like, they're both sells then, so... Good effort, Maxie.
Maxie, about a minute before kickoff last week, traded Dane Gagai in with his move to fullback. Credit when due. He went good, but then he didn't goal kick. Hastings had a kick early on. I was like, sorry, Maxie, but then he came good and went well. It was like, he's got about 3 trades left. He might have a few more than 3. I shouldn't be harsh on Maxie.
If you had 12 trades, you might try the Meaney hedge, but he doesn't.
I know. You don't have enough trades, Maxie. Next question from James. For Spy, because he's on some Stephen Dank performance enhancers, is running both Watson and Grant at hooker too much? Could enough a hooker spot but thin on trades? What about Watson and Grant?
No, it's not needed. No, unless they're already in your side, I just don't think it's necessary. I think you just need 1 hooker this year. It's not overly high upside. I'm actually on the James Hurd peptides, not the Cronulla variant.
Oh, the Hurd ones.
Yeah, it hasn't done anything for Essendon over the years, but maybe I need to swap.
We'll get in strife for something around that, I bet. Anyway.
That was proven, wasn't it?
I think so. It was proven. We're good.
I'm an Essendon fan.
They both got banned, right?
Yeah, so I'm an Essendon fan, so I'm not knocking them.
All right, we're good. Question coming in from Jordan Brighton. A lot of questions around Ruben Garrick. Sit v start. Ruben Garrick or Mark Nwanganita-Wazi. What I will say about Ruben Garrick is when he landed on the left edge at Manly, I thought, oh no. On the right edge, he'll probably average 130. On the left edge, about 50. With Tom Trbojevic at right centre sweeping, it just changes everything because all the good he's done in recent weeks, it's been Tommy Turbo sweeping and setting him up. So all of a sudden, I don't think it matters that much.
Well, he gets either Turbo or Lehigh. Lehigh set him up week 1 with a cut ball. They can both pass. I'm pretty happy with it. What was the question? Is Garrick
or Nwanganita-Wazi?
Just to bring in?
No, to sit v start.
To sit v start this week. I think Melbourne can see nearly all their tries in Garrick's corner.
He's got the good edge.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep, I'd be playing him.
If it was the other edge in terms of defence, I'd be more worried. But yeah, I'd play Garrick over Nwanganita-Wazi. Question from Sean Weston. Thoughts on Ronaldo Mulitalo as a pod? Has a good run for the next month. We'll be trading Lucas to him, which will see Sandon to Drinky. So what are our thoughts on Mulitalo? We know there's upside there. He would obviously be a sit v start one where you don't need to play him every week. And I did this SC Playbook subscriber exclusive podcast last week. I looked at super pods in the CT dub position, what I mentioned at the top of it was that when you're getting your CT dubs for the run home, a player might average 70 on the run home, but you might play him in 4 of 7 games. So they might average 100 for you when you play him, but in tougher games when you sit them, they could average 30. Here, I mean, Ronnie's one of those examples.
Yeah, my laptop just died. What's their run home?
So Roosters this week at Shark Park,
So
Rabbitohs in Gosford,
Yep.
yes. Cowboys at Shark Park,
Yep.
yes. Dragons at Jubilee,
Yep.
Titans at Shark Park, yep.
It's a good run, isn't
Then
it?
it goes tough, but for that next 5 weeks, I'm not doing it. But
I'm not overly keen on him this year generally, but geez, if you're going to get him, it's right now. That's a great
their attack's
run.
too balanced. You never know where they're going to go.
I know. He's coming off like a 20 and a 30. I don't like it, but like he could tee off.
Last one from Sweet Baby Danny. This one's for me, Timmy. Please, I need to know your thoughts on Bizza. Brian Toto. My season depends on it.
Oh.
Jeez, dramatic. I like it. I really like it. And to be honest, if he played last week, I was probably going to get him and look to maybe go Lomax this week. Hasn't set the world alight, 63-point average, but with that run to come, Bunnies, Tigers, Titans, all at, I was 2 at Combank and then 1 up on the Gold Coast. I just think the base is there, Penrith are heating up. I was really interested in it, but just the way things have panned out, it's going to maybe be a little bit tougher to get him in. Maybe I'll do it in 2 weeks' time, but he was owned. I had him in my subscriber podcast last week, and he was about 0.3% ownership. I like the play.
Yep. Now we're talking a bit more because at least if he doesn't score a try, he should rock out 50, 55 for you. I'll keep a little Brian Toto eye out shortly.
I'm super tempted. All right, guys, that'll do us for the SC Playbook podcast for NRL Supercoach round 20. Thanks, Spy.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a great week.